Sure. Okay. Hello, everyone. Hi. So I'm sorry we're kind of like a couple minutes behind the 2 o'clock start. Abunas are on their way, but until they come, we're just going to start the program so we don't lose much time. So I would ask that you guys all support the graduates. We're very excited to have them with us today. Really quickly, we're just going to start by talking about a quick update to the class and what we've been doing during last year and our future vision for next year. Before we start, I just want to, on behalf of Abunas and everybody, welcome the Servants Prep Group from Bayonne. This is one of the great, it's one of the great accomplishments that we started this year. The program, it's been mimicked exactly in Bayonne since early February this year. And we have a group right here that just right one step closer to graduation. So we welcome you guys with us. Basically, we're just going to go through the curriculum. The curriculum has changed a little bit. Up to last year, we had 18 months of program. And people were doing rotations in the classrooms in the last 6 months of the class. The program had changed a little bit. So we kind of extended it to 2 years instead of a year and a half because we find that we don't have enough time to cover a lot of stuff. And instead of rushing through things just to get people to graduate, with Abuna's direction, we agreed to have the program as 2 blocks of 1 year each. So it will be 2 years of focus specifically on curriculums. No rotations in Sunday school, no distractions with anything else. And after they finish the 2 years, the group that's graduating today, it's going to start for a whole year going to Bible study to focus on how to deal with the kids, apply what they learn, and get more experience from the field before they sit in Sunday school class and be actually in charge of the kids. So that's one of the changes that we did this year. So now the program is 2 years. This is the two sets of curriculums that we take. Covers same thing like we were doing. We just expanded more on psychology. We expanded more on relationships with the kids, lesson preparations, and how to get the group that's graduating to be comfortable with the material, able to prepare a good lesson and deliver a message that's effective for the kids. We really take Sunday school serious, and we don't think it's a waste of time in any way. And it shouldn't be a waste of time for the servants or a waste of time for the kids. So that's one of the things that we did. The other things that we did that we now accept 10th graders in Servants Prep. So a whole bunch of people here that I see that they already applied this year. So we take from 10th grade up. And because we did it 2 years, so now this group doesn't graduate from Servants Prep and doesn't go in Sunday school until they actually graduate from their high school classes. So the other thing that we did, we used to do an open enrollment. At any point, you can come in and join the class during the year. That also stopped. We only accept applications through the month of September, and the classes starts in October. This way, we find that it's a lot more organized for people to keep focus. People don't just jump in at any time and lose some of the material. So we kind of, as an organization perspective, we have an enrollment in a specific time, class starts in a specific time, graduation in 2 years from that date. Really quickly, every one of those graduates today and everyone that graduated before has a complete file about everything that they've done throughout the 2 years. Start with their applications, their mentor servant, which is Kathy's going to talk about a little bit more. It have all their exams, their grades, their attendance, their performance, and it has some sort of an evaluation that we put together for Abunas at the end of their 2 years. Are they ready to serve the kids? Are they ready? Did they actually learn the material, or just in and out? So these are all like new things that have been added. These things have been changed, and we're trying to have a better organized program altogether. These are some of the challenges that we face in Servants Prep. And we wanted to share that with you, especially that most of you are servants in the church or at least parents, and you actually can see what we face through the programs. Some of the stuff is really, we don't have grads or college people in the class. We're very interested to get more involved with this group. So with Abuna's blessings, we started now to reach out to the grads and trying to build some sort of solutions for that. And I'll go next slide with that for you. The attendance to the other activities in the church. Sometimes we have weddings, we have feasts, we have things that kind of stops us from continuing that program week after week. Every time we cancel a class, it impacts what the kids are learning. So we either try to make it back or try to find a way, like retreats or conferences or other things to make up for the classes that we missed. We also have, this used to be a problem, it's not so much anymore, but we used to have a commitment from the speakers. But thank you so much for Abunas and their directions and their talk over and over and over with the servants to make sure that we have the speakers available to us, no last minute cancellations, and that kept the program going in a very consistent way. And finally, one of the major issues that we had as well was we didn't really have a standard book that we can hand in to the person that's starting Servants Prep and say, this is your material for the next 2 years. Again, with the help from Abunas and the really blessings of so many people, some of those sections already have books that the kids get when they start that section at least. So what's coming? First is recruiting college and grads. So we started now to engage other, the graduates meetings and the college people, trying to get them interested in Servants Prep and give them the opportunity to go through it. And how we do that. One way is we started now planning to have all the material available online. So people that's far away sent out to college. There's a couple of people that finished high school and they moved on to college. They're not here, and that's why they can't attend the class. So we're trying to put those material online for them so they can keep up with us. And when they come back, they still belong to the church, they still belong to the program, and they will be able to graduate. Another thing that we're doing is start planning for a fast track. So for people who busy with their work, in graduates and have jobs or in college and they don't really have enough, they don't have two years to focus on Servants Prep. So we're developing a program with Abuna Moros's lead to fast track this group to finish within a year. Whatever that will be, like probably 4 Saturdays during the year that they will come like beginning to end and get like really full focused program or other means of doing that fast track. But lots of people that will be joining in and they will be graduating the following September. So all of these things are again new to the program this year. And finally, the standardized book. So this is one of the things that we're really working hard on and we'll take it serious. We have three sections are already developed, and the group takes it once that semester starts. They take their books and they start following with it. They take their notes and so on and so forth. The other 7 or 8 sections, we don't have it yet. So our goal this year is to really focus on that, really try to compile more materials together and have that material available for everyone. With that, I really thank you for the time, and thank you, Abuna, of course, for being here. Abuna will talk to you, and then Kathy will take it.
In the name of the Father and Son and the Holy Spirit, one God, amen. I'm really, when I walked in the church, expected a few people to be there. I didn't expect that many people. So definitely something that very encouraging to see everybody, older servants, recent grads, those graduating class, of course, they have to be here. And also younger future servants. Everybody's coming here in one body, one spirit to come and listen to the graduating class. We're very proud of them. We're very happy that we have come so far. Serving is not about finishing. I was just talking about Buddha. It's not about learning something and spitting on an exam. This is not service. This is just we begin to scratch the surface by Servants Prep program. You never graduate out of Servants Prep. If you want to think it this way, we should never graduate because we always have to be disciples. Disciples have to learn. Even lawyers, doctors, pharmacists, they still have to take CE credits to maintain their license. So we need to continue to nurture ourselves. No matter how old we are, or how prominent servants we become, or how experienced we are, we still need to always nurture ourselves, always need to be able to sit down and listen and learn. I hope we don't give up that learning spirit. It's very important. I thank my Reverend Fathers for taking the time to be here. Thank you, everybody. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
So really quickly, we're going to start our presentations right now, and we're going to start with Amanda. And I'm really excited. They learned so much, and I'm very, very excited to see them standing up here and sharing that with you guys. Amanda?
Hi guys. Which button is it? Okay. I'm going to be talking about Abraham. I'm pretty sure you guys know the whole story about Abraham, so I'm going to keep it short. I think I pressed the wrong one. 3 major characteristics about Abraham are his obedience, and yes, and you can find that in Genesis 22, and you can also see how obedient he was when we read the Covenant Thursday fraction in liturgy, because it shows he was so obedient that when God told him to sacrifice his only son that he had at the age of 100, he didn't ask any questions, and he rose the next morning to go to the mountain and sacrifice his son. And the next one is his prayer, which you can find in Genesis 13, 20, and 21. And last is his faith. You can see his faith in Romans 4:20, which says he did not waver at the promise of God through unbelief, but was strengthened in faith, giving glory to God. And to end my presentation is unique facts about Abraham. And the first one he was the first one to be circumcised at the age of 99, which you can find in Genesis 17, 23 to 24. He died when he was 175 years old, which you can find in Genesis 25. And last is his wife Sarah was his sister, his half-sister from his father's side, which you can find in Genesis 22. That's it. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Christina, and today I'm going to be speaking about Isaac. Does anyone know anything about Isaac? Okay, good. He's Abraham's son. So Isaac was a divine promise from God sent to Abraham, and we all know Isaac through the famous sacrifice story in which Abraham took his only son, Isaac, to be sacrificed. And Isaac was very obedient, and that's the one virtue that he carried out throughout the whole entire story was obedience. In resemblance, God sent his only son, Christ, to get sacrificed, just as Abraham took his only son, Isaac, to be sacrificed as well. A reading from the fraction from Covenant Thursday is, as Isaac carried the firewood for the burnt offering, likewise Christ carried the wood of the cross. One thing we should all learn from this is to be obedient, just like Isaac. Thank you.
So I'm going to be talking about Bayonne Church's patron saint, Saint Anthony the Great. He was born in the year 355 AD, and at the young age of 20 years old, he was orphaned. he was left with to take care of his younger sister's and he began his monastic life immediately after hearing the verse that called him to sell all he had, give to the poor, and follow Christ. Right after that, he went to the outskirts of the village, and he moved to the outskirts of the village where he began his monastic life, and sent his sister to a nunnery to live for the rest of her life. After living in the outskirts of the village for a few years, he moved more into the wilderness and lived in a tomb where he was physically beaten and tormented by the devils, but he always overcame them through the power of Christ. After living in the tomb for a few years, he moved to the cave by the Red Sea, where his famous monastery is now located. And there he met great saints such as Saint Macarius, Saint Pimen, and Saint Athanasius, who became his disciples in the monastic life there. After establishing the monastic life and living for a few years, he died at the age of 105 in the year 460 AD. And my favorite saying from St. Anthony the Great is that I no longer fear God, but I love him, for perfect love casts out fear.
Hi everyone, and my topic is about St. Paul. St. Paul's original name was Saul, and he was born in Tarsus, year 5, and died year 67 in Rome. And he was actually a tent maker by trade, and he has 3 journeys, and he has 14 books, which more than half of the New Testament. And that's why he's one of the most important apostles in our church. And the books were actually sent to cities and people, and that's one of the reasons why we have the servants prep. Why we named the servants prep St. Paul servants prep. That's it. Thank you.
Okay, so today I'm going to be talking to you guys about Jacob. So his parents named him Jacob because when he was born, he was holding onto his brother's heel. And as they grew older, he brought his brother's birthright knowing that it was worth a lot. His mother also helped him deceive his father and giving him his blessing. When Esau found this out, he threatened to kill him. Okay, so this led to Jacob fleeing to his uncle's house, and there he worked 14 years for Rachel. One night on his way home, he wrestled with God, and God broke his hip, and this demonstrated his dependence on God for the rest of his life. Okay. Jacob's story teaches us that through God, even an imperfect person can be greatly blessed, not because of who they are, but because of who God is.
You have a clicker? Okay. Okay. So I'll be speaking about Saint Athanasius the Apostolic, or the defender of the faith. I'm just going to say some facts about him that you might not know. He was born into paganism. He was not Christian when he was born. And actually, it was a funny story, I guess. It's not really funny, but yeah. He was playing, well, his friends were playing in school, and he saw them playing. One of them was a priest, one of them was a bishop, and he was like, oh, guys, I want to play with you. And they said, well, you're not Christian, so, like, you can't play. So he said, okay, from now on, I'm Christian. They said, okay, then you're the Pope. So, yeah, that's basically his, like, intro to Christianity. And then later, Pope Alexandros passed by, and he saw them playing, and he said that St. Athanasius is going to be something great, which kind of prophesies about him. Yeah, so later in life, after his dad died, he went with his mother to Pope Alexandrus, and he became his personal deacon, and he was kind of his like secretary, and he taught him everything, and when Pope Alexandrus kind of said that he's a good person to become the next pope. So when Saint Athanasius knew that, he hid in the mountains because he didn't want to become the pope, but he became the pope, and he was also exiled 5 times due to the faith, mostly because of Arius and his followers, and we all know the story about him that Arius said that the Son was similar to the Father, but we believe that the Son and the Father are in one essence. Also, historian Socrates testified about him saying, Athanasius' fluency in speech and his outspokenness in the Council of Nicaea brought over him all the hardships that he encountered in his life, which we all know about because of his 5 exiles. And some of his books I personally prefer are On the Incarnation and The Life of St. Anthony the Great, which was he was his disciple. And yeah, that's it.
Okay, so I'm going to be talking about King David, and instead of doing a presentation, I'm going to turn it into a game for the audience. So you guys are going to raise your hand when I say something, and you're going to tell me whether it's a strength or a weakness, and if you're correct, I'll tell you why. So first up, murder. Is it a strength or a weakness? I need an answer. Okay, good. And the person he murdered was Uriah the Hittite. It was one of his generals, and the reason why he murdered him is because he had slept with his wife, Bathsheba, and he did not murder him himself. He put him on the front line of battle with intentions of him getting hurt. Next is military strategy, strength or weakness? Okay, no, it's a strength. It's a strength because it allowed him to have better knowledge of how to defeat other tribes and civilizations when they attacked. Next, Bathsheba, strength or weakness? Good. It's a weakness because he slept with her, and therefore it negatively affected his spirituality. So it's a weakness. Next, his instruments, strength or weakness? Okay, good. It's a strength because instruments such as the harp, they were his way of praising God, and that benefited his spirituality. That's why it's a strength. And finally, his faith, strength or weakness? Good. It's strength because it gave him, it was his foundation for his strength. And also it goes along with his valiant spirit, which gave him courage to go up against enemies like Goliath that other people fled from. And that's my lesson about King David.
Thank you. Hi guys, my name is Hilda and I'll be talking about Esther today. As many of you guys do know, she was the chosen queen by King Ahasuerus. And she was an orphan who was raised by her cousin Mordecai. And one thing we can take from the story is that she was chosen for many reasons to save the Jews, and it was perfect timing because the queen before her that was chosen was not a Jew. So if it wasn't for her to be chosen, her population would not have been saved. And we can use this in our real life because many times we are chosen for many different things that we don't know about or we're not ready for. And I'll conclude with a personal story. I started Servants Prep a few years ago, and I didn't continue because I wasn't ready for it. And as time went by, I was ready, and God chose me because He knew at the time that I was ready, even though many of my friends have already graduated. And here I am presenting in graduating the class. Thank you.
Hi everyone. Today I'm going to present about one of the disciple. I'm going to mention some point about that disciple, and I would like you to answer who I'm talking about. Our disciple who was born in Jerusalem, him and his brother was fishermen. They coming from a rich family. His brother was one of the first martyr of the disciple. And him and his brother was one of the first to be called by Jesus. Who I'm talking about. Here you go. Go. Good? That's your prize for you. Come and take it. Sorry. Yes. Good job. I'm sorry. I just only have one prize. St. John referred to himself in his Bible as the disciple who Jesus loved. He actually a cousin of Jesus Christ. Him and his brother was known as the son of thunder. The story telling that one time Jesus was denied to get into a Samaritan township, and him and his brother asked the Lord to call for heavenly fire to destroy this town, but God rebuked them. His father is Zebedee, and we know his mother is Salome. She's actually a sister of St. Mary. St. John was one of the few disciples that have the opportunity to witness the rising of Jairus' daughter, also the transfiguration of the Lord. He's one of the two disciples was asked to prepare for the Last Supper. He was one of the disciples that was the only disciple at the cross, and also was appointed to care for St. Mary. As we know, he wrote the fourth gospel under his name. He also wrote 3 epistles, and also he wrote the Book of Revelation in his exile island in Patmos. He preached the Holy Gospel to Asia Minor, and also in Ephesus. He died peacefully in the first century, at the end of the first century, and that's it.
Thank you, guys. Year after year, we're trying to have the servants prep class takes a lot of people to cover the material, to teach, and to guide the graduates or the people in the class to finish and spend their 2 years with all the knowledge that they get. Year after year, we have a speech with one of the servants that helps the class together. And this year, by the vote of all the graduates, Mr. Peter Sleeman was chosen to give the word to them today.
I don't know how to top Hanny. You just gave a huge picture away. So if you can guess the answer, I'm going to give you Angie's car. Okay. No, well, thank you, Buddhist, for this opportunity. I never got to be a valedictorian ever, so I'm going to relish this opportunity and give the speech of a lifetime. Congratulations to all of you for your graduation from Servants Prep. I want to thank the fathers for supporting and making this program possible. I want to thank Bruce and Kathy, who worked tirelessly preparing the curriculum. They put the curriculum together, they plan the speakers, they follow up, they yell at you guys, they call you. I heard Buddhist, I was over at Buddhist's house, and he told me that you guys keep going over to his house uninvited, but he still lets you in. So thank you both for this program. It's wonderful, and when I was growing up, we didn't have something like it. So you guys are very, very lucky to have this and to prepare you. So in the past 2 years, there's been a lot of learning. At least I hope there is. And I saw the curriculum. There's things on theology, history, social topics, biblical studies, rights, all this stuff. But I want to take a step back a little bit and talk for about 2 minutes so we could put things in perspective. St. Paul writes in Corinthians, "For Christ did not send me to baptize, but to preach the gospel, not with wisdom of words, lest the cross of Christ should be made of no effect." Not with wisdom of words, right? And the following words are really just the words of St. John Chrysostom. I plagiarized, and I don't feel bad about it, but I thought that they were very powerful. And St. John starts by telling a story in one of his homilies about this verse. He says that one time he saw a Christian arguing with a Greek. And he was very confused by this. He didn't really know why they were arguing. Well, the reason for his confusion is, as he was listening, he heard that the Christians were saying stuff that the Greek should have been saying, and the Greek was making the point that the Christian should have been making. So it was two people arguing, and they were both basically making the case for the other side, right? And they both didn't know it. So what were they arguing about? Well, they were arguing about which one was smarter and more eloquent. Was it Plato or was it St. Paul? And the Greek was trying to show that St. Paul was unlearned and ignorant compared to Plato, that Plato was this wonderful philosopher and St. Paul was just unlearned, right? And the Christian, he was very, very anxious about this. So he was trying to prove that St. Paul was more eloquent than Plato, right? And in this story, in front of St. John, the Christian actually won. And he won, but he lost. And what do I mean by this? Well, according to St. John, the Christian did show that St. Paul was more eloquent, but the real victory was for the Greek. Why? You see, by showing that St. Paul was the better speaker, the more eloquent person, really the Christian was showing that it wasn't really in the truth of his message, or it wasn't by the grace of God, right, but by mere human ability, right? But if he had conceded that Plato was more powerful, Plato was smarter, more eloquent, well, then the only solution is, well, if St. Paul was less eloquent, then his message must have been the truth. That's why he won, right? So St. John continues, he says that the earliest disciples were not educated. They were untaught, they were poor, they were just fishermen, right? And he says, how else could fishermen and a tent maker, and you know the tent maker he's referring to is St. Paul, right? And a tax collector, and ignorant people from some land in Palestine, how could these people charge the hills and take over the territory that philosophers, masters of oratory, skillful debaters, right, in the middle of perils and oppositions of kings and peoples and demons in arms, and the devil himself came against them, how could they win and how could they beat back these people? Well, he says that the world at that time was like a speck of dust, and these fishermen, when they spoke, their words were like a hurricane. And that's basically what you should be. You should be this hurricane that not through your own power, but you should be able to, when you speak, the truth should come out so strongly that you win the people over to your side, right? So if it's not by eloquent words, how do we teach? And how do we preach and how do we do this? Well, St. John, very briefly, and this is the end, and this is very important, he says, let us astound them by our way of life rather than by our words, right? For though we give 10,000 precepts of philosophy and words, if we do not exhibit a life better than theirs, the gain is nothing, right? So no matter what you say, if at the end your life doesn't show to be different than someone else's, your words are going to be in vain. And he says, for it is not what is said that draws their attention, but their inquiry is what we do. Let us win them, therefore, by our life. And the reason I picked St. John to talk about briefly is that St. John, we call him the golden mouth, right? Chrysostomus, right? And he was an excellent thinker. He was a skilled debater. He was a prolific writer. He was amazing, right? But what I love most about him was that he had the conviction in what he spoke, and he lived according to that word with consistency. So he was popular with his people, especially the poor. He died in exile, though it wasn't his fault, right? And when he died, his last words were said to be, glory to God for all things. He was loved and he was heard because of how he lived. So that's my word of encouragement for you guys, to make sure that it's not just words, it's not just spitting out what you have been taught, but to actually live a life that shows people what that truth actually is, what it means to be crucified with Christ. Thank you. And now the hooding.
Mr. Peter D. Sleeman, everyone. $10 goes to those who know what D stands for, by the way. Okay, so the moment we've been waiting for. Just briefly to tell you about what the mentors are. Bulis didn't brush up on that. So we'll announce all of our graduates and we'll ask their mentors to come up in just a second. But just to give you an idea how this mentor servant got started was because there's just some things you can't teach in a classroom, some things you can't put on a PowerPoint slide or in a book that you will learn. And we feel that there's always that one special person who has been there for you throughout your time, that servant that you looked up to that says, you know what, I want to be just like that person. They've been there for me. And that was the point of the mentorship that started. I'm happy to actually see that it kind of actually spread, and those graduates were coming back and helping the classrooms, giving back. They've been there. They know what it was like to take that dogma exam, and so they started preparing lesson plans for them and study sheets and helping them, spending time with them to get ready for that exam. So I was really, really proud of those graduates who came back and helped us out a lot. The whole point of these sashes, just to give a brief line about that, is to represent the responsibility that you guys will all have and the new burden on your shoulders. So as you go out there and serve, remember that sometimes it's that one lost sheep, and all you have to do is love that child, and God will work through you. So sometimes it's not just about that Sunday school lesson. So congratulations to you graduates. I'll ask our mentors to come up. Mark Michael. Mr. Mark Michael. Miss Jennifer Nassim. Jennifer. Bishoy Mancarius. Yeah, right there. Raphael Bichet. Mary Abdelmelek. And Bulis Tedros. One servant who could not be with us is Marianne Nasrallah. She's busy traveling the world and enjoying her life. I'm jealous. Reminds me of my days. So the part of Marianne Nasrallah will be played by me. Okay? All right. Abunas, if we could have you come up. I'll give these to Abunas. They will give you your certificates. So as you guys come up, you'll just come this way. Okay? Amanda Lewis. Christina Iskander. Pierre Ibrahim. Abanoob Kamel, otherwise known as Alamuchi. Marina Wilson. On behalf of Marianne, congratulations.
Thank you.
Abanub Mechail, aka Bino. Richard Saweris. Hilda Kalla. And last but not least, Mr. Hani Riz. Dr. Hani Riz, sorry. So thank you, mentors, for always encouraging them when times get rough. While we have the Abunas here, we'd like to present you with a gift for always supporting us in Servants Prep. If it wasn't for you, we would not be here. So this is just a small gift and token on our behalf. Thank you for all that you do. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Congratulations to you graduates, and we'll ask Abuna Brahm to come and just say a closing statement for us, and then pictures after.
I feel so happy, so happy today. We are serving an amazing God. Thank you, God, for your help and for this day. We have amazing priest, Abuna Marcos, Abuna Daniel. Have amazing servants, Paulus and Cassie. I don't have present for them, so please, I'll give you my present. And you share it. Don't fight about it. I should prepare something for you.
No.
And amazing graduates today. Amanda. Where is Amanda? Oh, they are here. Amanda, you are amazing. Christina, you are amazing. Pierre, you are amazing. Abanub, you are amazing. Marina, you are amazing. Abanub, you are amazing. Richard, you are amazing. Hilda, you are amazing. Hani, you are amazing. Amazing graduates who greet them. And congratulations to them. Congratulations to all the parents for God gives them success to raise such wonderful servants in the church. Thank you, Peter D. Sleeman. I know what D stands for, but I'm not going to tell you. By the way, I give a special thanks to Cassie and Wallace and for having the same system of Silver Breb in Santa Abanub and St. Antonius Church in Bayonne. I asked them to do the same with St. Abanub and St. Antonius there. I'm waiting, looking forward to know from them what is the progress of this group. Oh, you are here. Oh, so welcome to Servant Breb of Bayonne. Would you please stand up, Servant Breb of Bayonne, to know? Oh, wonderful. Oh, wonderful. Thank you. Sit down. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Sit down, please. Sit down. So, I feel we are oh, another girl. So, stand up, please. Oh, so I was wondering, no girls or what? What's going on? Thank you, thank you. I'm so happy to have you with us, and I'm so happy that there is a glimpse of the unity of the church. This is what we are looking for, to feel the essence and the reality of the church, that we are one church, not St. Mark and St. Abanub, but we are the Church of Christ that is located in St. Mark, as the same Church of Christ that is located in Bayonne. I promise you we are going to invade more churches soon with the Servant Breb class. So thank you for this effort. I'm really happy and thank God who smiles at us all the time. I feel his smile, especially in this day. Thank you all. And thank for all the mentors. Where are the mentors? Thank you for helping. Thank you for helping. I really appreciate it. Yeah. Thank you. Amin alleluia zog sabatri ke
بخريستوس بالنوتي بأورون تتهريني موينان تكريني سمنان تكرين جيكان النوفنا نفولج ثوك تاتيقوم نبئون بزمونا بيوما شاءنا آمين. O Lord, make us work to pray thankfully, our Father who art in heaven. Thy name come, thy will be done on earth. Before you go, just 3 points I just want to mention. First of all, for the graduates, I'm sorry to say that we're gonna collect all the certificates from you because Abuna Abraham and Abuna Moros didn't sign it yet. So we're gonna take it back from you. That's number one. Number two, we're gonna have a picture with with the graduates, with the fathers. After that, after the picture, please go downstairs to on the deck. There is a nice fellowship. We have some food and some drinks to eat together, and all are invited. All are invited. May the love of God the Father, the grace of His only begotten Son, our Lord God and Savior Jesus Christ, the fellowship and communion of the Holy Spirit be with you. Go in peace, and peace be with you all.